Today, we're going to talk about the dollar versus the Swiss franc, so the USD-CHF, because I do think the market is on the brink of a big move. In fact, it could be the largest move we've seen from the pair in over a year. So before we get to that though, guys, I do want to say if you enjoy the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon because I will be releasing these videos every weekday. Yep, I'm going to be putting out these videos every weekday in addition to the weekly forecast. So be sure to subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss out. And lastly, none of the content in these videos is ever financial advice because it is just my opinion. So with all of that said, let's take a look at the dollar versus the Swiss franc. Now, looking at the daily time frame, you can see how over the past few months, in fact, really 6 months or so, it has been very, very choppy. So yes, we have had some pretty decent swings from this pair. However, overall, it has just been sideways. And furthermore, even within these swings, there has been a lot of just indecision. Okay, so yes, you could have tried to trade this pair, but really, in my opinion, it has been very unfavorable here over the past 6 months or so. But this is when taking a kind of a big picture view of the market can really pay off for a pair like this, because when you get a lot of choppy price action from a market, typically there is something bigger going on the higher time frames. And so for that, if we move out here, staying on the daily time frame, but moving out and looking at the last year plus, okay, you can see how all of a sudden we have this triangle or wedge pattern. Some people will call it a triangle, some people a wedge, both are valid. So basically off of this 2021 low, so this was really the 2021 open back here, and then also this was the 2021 high. So this right here was the 2021 range, and you can see how ever since the start of last year, the dollar versus the franc has just been moving sideways. However, the price action has gotten progressively tighter over the past few months, and this is a terminal pattern, meaning that the market is going to have to make a decision here over the coming months. So whereas with like a channel, it can theoretically go on forever, although we know they never do, this pattern has to make a decision. This pair has to make a decision here over the coming months because it is going to get squeezed eventually into this terminal pattern as it nears the apex. Now, technically, this could go on until the summer, June, July, and still be within this pattern. However, we rarely see a market go to the very apex of a triangle like this. Typically, you get a breakout somewhere in here. Okay, so I would expect that over the next month or two, we do get a breakout from the dollar franc. Now, I do want to say too that it's not my job to predict which way this is going to break. I see that a lot. A lot of traders try to say, okay, this is going to break higher or lower, and they get in early. Sometimes that can work out, but it's not my job to try to determine which way this is going to break. It is my job to stay patient and wait for the confirmed break, which for me is going to be either a daily close above resistance up here or a daily close below support down here. All right, now you could wait for a little bit more conviction and wait for the weekly close above or below support, because that is going to give you a little bit more conviction in that breakout. But this is not something where I would play it on the intraday charts. Even the 4-hour, 8-hour, 12-hour timeframes are not going to cut it, simply because this pattern has been in place ever since the start of 2021. So the longer a pattern has been in place, the higher conviction you need when you do get that breakout. So for me personally, that is waiting for at least a daily close above resistance or below support. Now let's go ahead and talk about the measured objective for this pattern as well. All right, so if we take a look here at the height of this pattern, and you'll see what I mean in a moment once I pull this up, but the height of this pattern is basically about 600 pips, okay? So if we measure 600 pips in either direction from that resistance level or from support, you get areas in the market that, could take several months to play out. Keep that in mind too, just because this is a large pattern. So looking back here at this high and measuring to support down here, you can see it's about 600 pips or so. So if we then measure 600 pips from a projected breakout point, now we don't know when the dollar franc is going to break out, but if we assume it's somewhere around here and measure 600 pips higher, you can see we get an area up here right around 0.992. And if we measure lower from support down here, 600 pips, we get an area somewhere down here around 0. Let's say 857, maybe 856. So those would be the objectives of this pattern. And just keep in mind too, as I bring up the other levels, because I do want to talk about additional support and resistance levels for this market, because obviously the market's not just going to run to those levels that are 600 pips away. But I do want to say that measured objectives like this are not guarantees. Okay, nothing in the market is ever a guarantee. And these two measured objectives are certainly not that. Okay, so it is just a projection of where the market could go, is maybe likely to go here over the coming months, but it's never a guarantee. Now, additional levels for the dollar versus the Swiss franc. This is going to be key because, as I said, the market's not just going to run 600 pips higher or lower. This is going to take months to play out. So it's important to keep an eye on other additional levels in the process. And the very first ones that come to mind are going to be these highs and lows here within this range. Okay, so you can see how over the past few months, this market has been moving sideways. We have these lows down here and these two highs up here. So resistance up here above the triangle resistance here is going to be right around 0.937, and support's going to be right around 0.909. So if we do get that confirmed break, or at least we will get that confirmed break here over the next few weeks, the market has to make a decision, as I said. So once we do get that daily close above resistance up here, the first level to keep an eye on is going to be right around 937. And if we do get the confirmed break below here, then the next level is going to be right around 909. All right, so that's going to be important because there's a good chance we see a retest following the breakout. And that brings me to my next point. I'm not just going to enter here. And again, this is not financial advice, just what I'm doing, but I'm not going to enter on the first daily close above resistance or below support. I am going to wait for that retest. Okay, so I want to see a retest of this level as new support, or of this level down here, all right, as resistance. So right here and right here, this is what I want to play. Okay, I don't want to just trade on that first daily close above or below these levels. And part of the reason I don't want to do that is simply because of these key levels that are just beyond this triangle pattern, okay, because there is a good chance that we see that rounded retest of this level once we do get the breakout. Now, if the dollar versus the franc does move lower, we get the break lower, then some other key levels to keep an eye on are going to be this low down here, okay, this swing low right around 893. Below that, we have the 2021 low, and then of course the objective right around 857. Now, if the pair does break higher, okay, we get a confirmed break above here and a move above 937, then other key levels to keep an eye on are going to be 947. So this is the 2021 high. We also have 968, and then the objective up here around 992. So those are the key levels I'm going to keep an eye on here for the dollar versus the franc. And I'm going to leave you guys with this. As I said earlier, it's not my job to try to predict which way this is going to go. I know a lot of people are going to watch this video and say, is it going to move up or down? That's not my job right now. My job is to stay patient, wait for that confirmed breakout, because I do not want to get chopped up in this. Okay, I want to wait for that confirmed break and for the market to run again. And I think it will, because as I said, there's going to be a lot of pent-up energy here once the market does break out. All right, so that's it for today's video. There is a lot of potential here over the coming weeks, but right now it is just a waiting game. So if you guys enjoy the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon to get notifications, smash that like button, and leave your comment below. I will talk to you again tomorrow.